I'm in the middle of cooking my soup, so I thought I would stop and chat for a little bit and have my tea with you. I made my mug of tea, and I have white beans in my soup, and they're going to take at least another half hour, I think. So, enough time for us to sit and chat. How are you doing? I know there's a ton of stuff going on. I have made the decision to stop watching the news. Now, that's not completely true. I do watch a couple times a week just to make sure that I'm fully aware of what's been going on in the world. But to be honest, all the things that are being presented on the news are him. And I'm not going to say who it is. I think we both, or we all, might know who the him is. And honestly, I think the strategy right now is to make us so stressed thinking about so many different things that they're able to swoop in when we're exhausted and do things. So, a good way to counter that for me is just to stop engaging. I mean, I really feel for you in the US that don't have that privilege. I'm in Canada. I have some privilege with that. I know that we're involved in some of the things that the US is doing, but if I'm being very honest, very little I can do about it. There are elections happening here. There are ways I can get involved with that here. And that's where I'm choosing to focus my time. That's where I feel like I can have an impact. So that's kind of what I've decided there. You will hear a little bird squawking in the background, and that's because while my neighbor's away, I'm taking care of her little cockatiel. And this is her this is her highlight of her day, where she is her tweeting self, and we'll just let her live her best life. Maybe at some point she'll appear here, but as I'm cooking, she's in her cage. I let her have free reign of the house, except for if I'm opening and closing doors as far as the outside world is concerned, and if I'm in a meeting with my boss or if I'm cooking. And right now I'm cooking. So she is in her cage because I don't want her to fly around and land on a hot element or get caught on something sharp. So it's just better that she is in her cage, and she's not happy about it though. I will tell you that. She is not happy. She wants to be out. She wants to be doing all the things. So, and causing mischief and pooping on everything. That is kind of what she wants to do. So, I empathize with that. I do empathize with you, but it's safer for both of us. I mean, I'm kind of a clumsy person anyway, and if she decides to fly around and I lose my footing or I lose my grip on something, then there could be hot items splashing. There could be lots of things going on. So just gonna prevent that as much as I can. So I've already asked this, but how are you doing? I'm gonna try my tea. It might be too hot still. It'll be almost perfect in a little bit. Being on YouTube is an interesting thing right now. I want to do this. I want to connect with you. But if I'm being very honest, it's been hard to find the spoons. After work and I volunteer right now doing a couple different things and just chores and things you have to do to make life go, such as cooking for yourself and making food for yourself, I find that I don't have spoons, but I still want to do this. And so I am having to have harsh conversations with myself about consistency and how I can achieve that. I'm thinking I will be able to post maybe once every other week. I'm thinking, but I'm still in the draft process. I'm still thinking things out and trying to figure it out because I do want to also be able to do other things in my life. I want to be able to be excited about things. I want to have something to talk with you about if we're sitting down for tea. So, yeah, yeah, let me know if you have a trick when it comes to these things, what you do for yourself. How do you make life work? I don't know. And as much as these days I feel like I'm able to do more than I have been able to do for a while, I still find my energy lacking at the end of the day. I just feel like I need 10 more hours in my day to do the things that I want to do to be able to live a good life. And I haven't quite figured out how I can achieve everything that I want to achieve. I know that I'm not alone in that. So share with me if you can what you do, what mindset you have. There's some things that I'm looking forward to in the future. I'm looking forward to going to the snake dens. I'm a fan of creepy crawly things. And apparently north of the city there are these dens that these snakes come out and during mating season a female will come out but will be surrounded by hundreds of males. And it's quite a sight to see, apparently. So I think this is a protected area where there's known snake dens where this happens. And so in this protected area, they do allow people to come and visit and whatever. So I'm looking forward to having my what is it called? National Geographic moment where I get to go and see these things. It'll be super exciting. The other thing that we're going to do, because we're going to be in the area, is check out small town that is also I don't want to be incorrect here. I don't want to be offensive to anybody by my words. I think it was heavily influenced, if not the town was originated Icelandic group. And because of that, there's quite a bit of their culture and things to see there. And I'm looking forward to having a look see and seeing what that's all about. So that's something that I'm looking forward to. As well, I'm looking forward to, I was able to secure a yurt to look at the night sky. Now, I know that this probably doesn't sound like much of anything, but there's a protected dark sky preserve. And apparently, the night sky viewing is amazing because of the fact that they allow very little, if any, light pollution. And so you are able to experience the night sky. And I couldn't be more excited about that. I hope that the weather keeps up. I'm gonna knock on wood, but it'll make you shake. So I'm going to think that I did that. And apparently, if you have binoculars, you'll be able to see the rings of Saturn and lots of things that way. So I don't know. I've never tried this before. If you have, let me know. But having a telescope, I would never be able to use it because where I live, I wouldn't be able to see anything. So instead, I can use binoculars for lots of things. So if I get really good binoculars, I see no reason why I can't check this out in this way. At the very least, I won't be able to see things. The night sky is still gorgeous. So I am definitely looking forward to that. I'm definitely looking forward to the experience of camping. I think it's important for people to have things that they look forward to. I do. I think that it gives somebody a reason to put effort into the next step, whatever the next step is. And I have been in situations where I look forward to being able to dress myself, for instance. I know what it's like to have your goal, your thing that you're looking forward to be, I look forward to being able to do my laundry. And being able to achieve that was probably the best thing that I have felt. So I definitely am really appreciative of this moment that not only am I able to do those things, but I'm able to do things such as the snake dens and plan out camping at a night sky preserve and stuff like that. There was a good amount of time where that was not possible. So I definitely it's not beyond me. It's definitely something that I appreciate about myself. On the work front, things are going well at work. I am, however, really thinking about the employment sector as a whole. You know, it's really difficult. There's very little that I think that employers are giving employees anymore. I don't know when in history it was, but it used to be commonplace that your employer would really appreciate loyalty, would really, I don't know if it would benefit you because not everybody got raises, but value, maybe that's the right word, would value your loyalty, would value your time that you were there. And I'm not saying that the management was the best in the past and stuff like that. Definitely, there are things and rights that people have now that are better than their experience at that time. But it seems now that companies are kind of giving employees less and only giving them the bare minimum. And they're trying to figure out what the bare minimum is in wage. And they're only providing the bare minimum as far as your local laws go. And I'm not sure if this is everywhere. And I'm not sure if everybody has the same opinion of me or as me. But it seems like there's no pensions, but some places have RSP matching or 401k matching or whatever. But when you read the fine print, they will say that you need to be at the company for X amount of time before you're actually able to get the benefit of the match or whatever they're offering. And when I read that and I think about the time that we're in, I think about how companies now don't value loyalty. They don't value whatnot. They have such a small scope that they'll hire and lay off and hire and lay off quickly. And so, in the instance that a company is asking for 2 years before you get this benefit, what is the likelihood that you'll be there for 2 years? And if, and no fault of your own, if you haven't left the company but they have decided to lay you off, that still applies. And they don't have to provide you the benefit. I seem to think that this is something that looks good on paper, but actually is not anything. So this is what I've done instead. I'm putting the money that I would put into the RSP matching into a TSFA, a tax-free savings. For me, I need my finances to be quite liquid at this time, or at least a good portion, a good percentage. And I need to be able to access these things. And when it's in an RSP, you're less able to access the funds. And so this way, I'm already investing. I'm already putting money away. I don't know if investing is the right word because I'm not necessarily doing anything with that money. But I've put it away. And the money, the amount that I see on my statements is a true figure. Regardless of what happens with the company, that is a true figure that I can have in my brain. Versus a figure that they show me that's actually not a true figure, because if for any reason the relationship changes, what you might end up seeing at the end of the day might be very much less after the benefit that you thought you'd be getting from the company is removed. So that's what I've done. There's still a tax benefit as far as the future earnings of whatever's in my tax free. So it's still a taxable, I don't want to say taxable benefit because I think that's not true. It's still a benefit to you that it's there because you're not having to worry about the tax implications of that. But that's future, whereas RSPs are pretty much, you get to claim the benefit now and then pay taxes in the future when you take it out. So that's my idea. I don't know if that's the right idea. Don't follow me for financial whatever. If you have a different idea of what should be happening, definitely give me a comment about that. I'm just trying to make life go. You're just trying to make life go. We all are just trying to make life go. And it seems that employers are doing less and less to help us with that. Other than a pizza party, which apparently is supposed to make everything better. I know some companies where that is all they do. And they might work people really hard and they might not have any cultural events or whatever. And every once in a while they throw a pizza party and they say, oh, well, that's good enough. That's not good enough. You deserve more. I deserve more. This bird that is not shushing deserves more. With my reduced watching news or whatnot, I have noticed that I am better able to concentrate. Now, I don't know why that is. I have no idea. It could be about something else as a result of something else that has nothing to do with that. So I'm gonna ride that wave. I definitely feel a lot calmer. I definitely feel a lot less stressed out. And I feel that I'm able to really, what am I trying to say? I find that I'm able to be more impactful, if that makes any sense. I find that I'm able to kind of get the gist and then say, okay, so what am I going to do about this? Or can I do anything about this? Some things, it's like, well, I can't. I don't spend a lot of money on groceries. I don't do a lot of things. I don't travel a lot. I don't, and I've never been able to do a lot of these things because I was under the poverty line for some time. I'm disabled. Traveling is a whole different ballgame to me. And so there's little impact that I'm able to do. So I'm looking forward to voting soon. I do tend to vote. There was only one election that I missed, and that's when I first moved here. And I moved several provinces, and I didn't know the political arena here, so it was a local kind of election. And because I had just moved and there was not enough time for me to understand history and understand any of the issues. Because of that, it's like, well, I can't feel good about any of my votes because I could vote for a party, but where I was, there was a person that was the premier of the province that I was in that was horrible. And it's like, oh, I really don't want to get involved with that. I would like to know if there are people that have been conducting themselves that way. And there's really no time for me to do that. And so that election I skipped. The person that won, I'm very happy to say that I very much agree with a lot of the things that they've done and are doing and say they plan to do. I don't know if they actually plan to do any of the things, but I'm happy about that. But this time around, it's a little bit different. It's to do with the Prime Minister of Canada. So I'm going to definitely be voting in that. If that was the case when I moved here, where it was a federal election, I probably would have pulled some all-nighters to figure out whatever locally. Though the state of the country as a whole, that's not specific to each and every province. Your writing and the person that you're involved with or that you're going to vote for is. So I would look up that stuff. The parties as a whole for the country, I already have a good sense of those. So I'm just going to keep it like that. What are you drinking today as you're watching me? Oh, I see that we're at the 33-minute mark. So I'm going to check on the soup and I'll be right back. And we're back. So it really feels like the beans in the soup are going to take another half hour or whatever. We're going to jump off before then, but at least I'm going to be able to spend the last little bit with you. Oh, and I didn't say this before. Cheers. I don't know if I told you. So at the store, I was thinking about the things that I wanted to make for food this week. And I walked by the fresh pasta. I looked at like tortellini, cannelloni, all those different types of stuffed pastas. I picked up spinach and cheese ravioli because I like the spinach and cheese things. I also like the sweet potato ones, but I didn't see any of those there. But I saw cheese tortellini. And so between the two, I was like, I feel more like the like the spinach and cheese. And then when I got home, I was like, I should have gotten the tortellini. And this is why. I'm actually not sure how this is going to be. Actually, have no idea. I'm winging this recipe because this is ravioli. So I don't know. I don't know what I should expect. I don't know. So we're gonna see. I know that the I know the ravioli is bigger, cannot be overcooked really. It'll start disintegrating and whatever. So I'm gonna cook that at the end in the soup and see where we end up. It might be horrible, but honestly, if the soup is tasty, what's the worst that can happen? Apparently, I'm very brave for saying that. We'll see. It smells a little bit on the bitter side, so I'm going to add some lemon to it to brighten it up. But I'm not gonna do that yet. I'm gonna wait for the beans in there to soften a little bit. Because right now, yeah, I would say that we're another half hour out or whatnot. Like I can chew on them, but they're very tough. So I'm just going to let it go, do its thing. And so I'm not sure, yeah, if anybody out there knows of ways that you could incorporate tortellini, or not tortellini, ravioli in a soup, let me know. I know tortellini because it's a little bit more robust. It's a little bit more like pucks, and that it's easier to cook with. It's a little bit more forgiving as far as time goes. This is a little bit more delicate. So, yeah, let me know. I decided that I was going to do this week. I also cooked up some sausages, and I'm gonna have sausage and sweet potato and corn. That was the other thing that I was going to do. So this is a vegetarian one. The other one obviously has meat in it. So I have a good mix going. But in there's quite a bit of veggies going on there too. So we'll see. We'll see how that ends up going. They were things that I already had mostly. I know I bought the stuffed pasta, but everything else is things that I had. I already had the veggies to go in there. I already had the chicken bouillon or the veggie bouillon in this case. I already had, yeah, I already had the potatoes and the corn, and I already had using up stuff in my pantry. And yeah, what did you make for yourself this week? Because of my limitations, I cook a max of 3 times a week. Now, people will ask about other things. There are some things that only need to be heated up. And I don't really count those. I count cooking as in you have to cut things or break things or whatever. Craft dinner, I think, is just adding water and heating up. I am thinking it's very little. Like, I don't consider that cooking. And making a mug cake, for instance, or making up some oatmeal in the morning or whatever, I don't consider cooking. Making a sandwich, I don't consider cooking. Now, if I had to cut things up, fry them, and whatever, or cut things up and put them in the oven or whatever, then I consider it cooking. But if I'm just heating up a pizza in the oven, I don't consider that cooking. I don't. You can disagree with me or whatever. I just think for sanity and for my limitations, that works. Whereas if I'm having to like crack eggs and fry those on the stove, I consider that cooking. Whereas just adding water to craft dinner and putting it in the microwave, I don't. And I make my craft dinner a little bit different, I think. In a kettle, I boil the hot water, or I boil water to make it hot, and I put it over the noodles, and I dump in the cheese packet at that time, and then I might put a dollop of butter or whatever on it, and then I just put it in the microwave, and then I don't have to, like, every 3 minutes I check on it, and I might stir it at that point, but I'm not doing a lot. That is the max that I'm doing. And in less than 10 minutes, I have craft dinner. So that is the way that I usually do it. I could do it on the stove or whatever, but I've never been able to strain it. Straining pasta is not something that this girl can do. So let me know if there's another way that you have found that can make craft dinner. I find my way is actually tastier than the way where you drain it, because when you think about it, when you're draining pasta, all the flavor of that pasta you're kind of tossing, which is why a lot of pasta sauces ask you to retain some of the cooking liquid for making the sauce. I think that's the reason why they ask you to do that. And because I'm not straining my craft dinner, what I end up with, I think, has more flavor. When someone makes craft dinner or anything like that, and they've strained it before, they've reconstituted the sauce, I think that it's less tasty. But weigh in. Maybe you agree or maybe you don't agree. Let's have some people in the chat or the comments. So I'm gonna go, but I did enjoy this sit down and being able to connect with you today. I hope that whatever you're doing today, you're having the best time in the situation you find yourself. And I will talk to you later.